Call the Resource Committee meeting to order, please. Brother Peter, would you do our...
Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for getting us together over here at Wolf Hollow. Thank you for the fellowship that we'll have today. And Father, I pray for this meeting right now, Lord, that you would help guide us and really help us with our wisdom and decision making here, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Oh, also thank you for this good meal we're about to have, and we're all looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Bill England. Bill John Baker.
Here.
Ed Baker.
Here.
Julia Coates. Here. Jody Fishenhop. Here. Neil Fulbright. John Garvin. Chuck Hopkins Jr. Anna Dory Jordan. Present. Lee Keener. Senior. Dick Lay.
Here.
David Thornton. David Walkingstick. Harry Cowan Watts. Ahani. Ron Message.
Here.
Happy day.
Okay, moving on down. Need approval of minutes for the September 4th regular session meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on down to reports. Yes.
Now, could I move, at this time I'd like to move to amend the agenda. I understand that we have a piece of legislation that came from Linda Donaldson's group that needs to be placed on the agenda so it can possibly, if the body approves it, go to full council tonight.
Okay, a motion second to amend the agenda.
It is an act amending Legislative Act 20-11 authorizing the comprehensive operating budget for fiscal year 2012 to include some funds that they have received, I believe, from the Bureau of Indian Affairs and to start the disbursement work on it.
Do we have any discussions on this? All in favor of the act? That's about aye.
Aye. To amend the agenda.
Amend the agenda, right?
And it will become number 2
Number 2, yes.
under new business, I guess.
Yes. Okay, do we have any discussions on the act? If not, all in favor? Yes.
For the amendment?
For the amendment.
Yes.
All in favor?
Point of order.
Yes.
This is a vote to amend the agenda, and that's it. Okay.
Yes.
We just took a vote, though, right?
Yes.
So it passed to amend the agenda, and it's item number 2.
Item number 2, right.
So now we're on just to reports? Is that where we're at?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate your patience.
But we also need a vote now.
I thought we took a vote.
When we take a vote on this item?
It's item number 2 on the agenda, under new business.
Under new business.
Right, later when we get to new business.
Do we have to vote to amend the agenda?
No, we already did.
Oh, it's just amended.
Right.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Moving on down to reports. Andrew,
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, committee members. As always, it's a pleasure to have you here at the Bull Hollow Shop in Kenwood. We've made this an annual thing for many years now, and I'm not sure we had a meeting last year, if I recall correctly. We did have one? Okay. Well, I'm glad we had it then. I thought we missed a year. But it's always a pleasure to have you up here. I think a couple of the new council, or maybe it was just you, Mr. Keener, and Mr. Snell took the tour this morning.
Yes.
And I appreciate Pat for doing that, and I hope you enjoyed the tour. And if there were any of you that it was not beneficial for you to take the tour today and you haven't been on a tour of our tribal land here in Delaware County, I'd like to introduce Trent Holland. He is the field manager for this site. Get with Trent later today while we're having lunch, get his contact information, and he'd be glad to show you around, show you our lease units. So if you would like to come back and visit this land at a different time, we encourage you to do that. Garner is also here, and Butch is over our land at Adair County, and we have the CMS field unit, and get with Butch also if you'd like to tour those lands as well. I've also brought my directors today for the new council that have not met my staff. I have Pat Gwynn, who is Director of Natural Resources. Anything to do with the management of our land, get with Pat, and he'd be happy to visit with you about that. I have Dana Espinal, who is Director of Planning Development. She is over all of our buildings that currently exist as far as remodels. She also works with departments within the tribe that are building new buildings. They go through Dana. She works with the contractors and subcontractors. So if you have any questions on projects, she gives you a monthly project report, but she would be happy to fill you in and catch you up on any of that stuff. I have Tamara Copeland, who is over our risk and emergency management department. So if you have any questions for her, she'll be glad to give you her contact information. And so I wanted you folks to have a face to go with a name. And if you fail to get their contact information today, you know where you can get in touch with me. And I'll be glad to get you hooked up with them on anything you have questions about. So having said that, there's the staff, the food that you're going to be eating today has been prepared by both the Bull Hollow and the Candy Mint Springs staff that work in Adair County. They come up and they do this as a joint project. And rather than going through their list of names before we eat, I'll just have them come in and line up, and we'll just give them a round of applause for their hard work for today. So other than that, I believe that Gail should have gotten you a response to all the questions that were asked at last month's meeting, and I'll take any questions you have on my report.
Do you have any questions, Jessica?
And I know, because I'm still behind on emails a little bit, that you'd sent a response, but I was still hoping for a public presentation on the gathering right and how people have access so that folks that don't want to read anything in depth could still access it on the video and go to your item, and I can tell them where that's at and such, and then like our burn policy. I know that's double duty, but these are important issues, and I think that's something that I'm going to be working on in the next couple of years. So I wanted to make sure that we kind of laid the groundwork for what the reality is today, what facts are today, so we could.
So to clarify, you would like to have a video type presentation on gathering?
It would be on our video that would be accessible through Legistar, just because it's in the meeting, but some kind of presentation, within 5 or 10 minutes, not anything.
Sure, we can do that.
Kind of helps. That would be during your report. That's what I'd expected. And I didn't get to clarify that because I haven't got to that email. But I appreciate you getting the response back, and that's something I can share also.
Okay.
But if we can.
Is it the committee's pleasure that we do that at next month's meeting?
I would ask if there's no objection, just a 5 or 10 minute presentation on what our current gathering right policy is for Cherokee citizens and what the current burn policy is to help for natural resources, especially with respect to our control plant.
Okay, we can do that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have more questions for Angela?
This is kind of off the subject, but the golf tournament that we held last week, 2 weeks ago. I just kind of caught wind from some of our constituents that there was funding coming out of some of the programs to sponsor some of the was it a Taro golf tournament?
No, sir, it was not. It was a planning and development hosted golf tournament, and there were not any funds that were spent that were tribal funds. We worked through CNB, and they sponsored us to be able to host that event at that location.
So all the funding came from CNB for this tournament?
Yes, they gave us a donation.
Okay.
They hosted us there, so. And I don't know what that in-kind cost was off the top of my head, but we could get that from them. And all the proceeds that were raised for the day go to the Veterans Service Center project.
It was it the Terrell contractors though that this tournament was for?
It was for anybody that wanted to play in the golf tournament. It wasn't limited to anybody. It was opened up, but we did let the contractors know that have basically worked on Cherokee Nation projects for us, so that any of them that wanted to play could play. So it wasn't just for Terrell.
Yeah, could you just shoot me an email of how much the in-kind contribution was from CMB to the golf tournament?
Dana, can you speak to that while we're here? Or? Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to turn the floor over to Dana if she'd like to.
The in-kind donation from CMB was from both Hard Rock Casino and the Cherokee Hills Golf Club. And Cherokee Hills Golf Club did overriding for the golf fees for the teams. And Hard Rock did the overriding for the lunch that was served. And all of the proceeds that was collected from the benefit went into the Veterans Center construction.
What about the sponsorship for the teams?
They paid.
They paid, the companies paid themselves. There was no,
The Terrell companies or what companies?
any of the companies that registered to play. They weren't specific Terrell. There were some Terrell companies that registered to play, and they paid fees to play.
And was there any program services that had paid funding out of Cherokee Nation dollars to play in the tournament?
No, sir. There was not.
There was, out of my staff, out of the management resources staff, there were probably 10 people that all they did was play that day. They were not there working. And I granted, as a group leader, I can grant me and my staff up to 8 hours of administrative pay period. And I granted 9 of my staff administrative leave so that they did not have to take their annual leave or sick leave to go play, because the other portion of the tournament was also an opportunity for all of the staff that engage with contractors, whether they're Terrell or non-Terrell. We wanted it to also be a networking opportunity, because it was also a way to have a social event to be able to say thank you to all contractors who work for us, but they still had to pay their fee to play golf that day.
Okay.
So any of my staff that played from the planning or from the management resources group, I granted them administrative leave to do so, because it goes to a worthwhile cause.
Well, that was my question. I just want to be sure it wasn't the funds being distributed from the student service.
There were not.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions for Angela? Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman, it's not, just that, I think the news release was on Cherokee.org for the event, if that's helpful as well. I think
Yeah.
that was put out on the tribal website before,
That's
prior to the event, if that kind of helps.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And just so you guys know, while we're on the Veterans Service Center project, I'd also ask that Dana go ahead and give you an update, because I will most likely get the dates wrong, but as you can see, structural steel has been going up. And Dana, what is the date that we're planning on having that dried in? So then we will actually be able to start taking volunteers to do the interior work that is less of a skilled trade, so to say, because we wanted the structural integrity of the building to be done for building code. And so I'm going to let Dana tell you when we expect that building to be dried in.
Right now, we're putting the floorboards in and subfloor in on the building, and we're expecting to put up the sit panels this week. And once the sit panels are up, then the roof will go on, and it won't be a totally enclosed roof. We won't have a metal roof on the building, because we need to purchase the roof and have that installed. But the structure will be what we're calling dried in. And once the structure is dried in, then we'll be ready to start looking for the windows and doors, placement of the interior finishes and the exterior finishes. So we're getting to a point to where we're at critical path to where we can start looking for other donations or another way of having other fundraisers to raise money to be able to purchase the roof and the windows and things that we need to make it a complete building.
An email that I did get this week that was very inspiring is, we have many at-large Cherokee communities that want to do national projects as a group, and they have visited with Mr. Charlie Soap, and Charlie put them in touch with me, and the at-large Cherokee communities are wanting to know how much was left to finish funding the project and what was actually needed in labor and funds, because they would like to try to take on a portion of that, and they were hoping to get to do some of that work in the month of November. So I forwarded that on to Dana, and she's going to be in touch with them. So there is still momentum behind the project. We still do have a list of folks from last year's Tarot Banquet Award that made pledges that we're still, we'll be contacting them as what their pledge was in the path of doing the project. We're going to start contacting them to say, okay, we're at the point in the project that we're ready to fulfill your pledge. And we've also got folks who weren't tarot, because just as a reminder, this Veteran Service Center is not just limited to Cherokees only. It's open to all vets. And so we have all kinds of folks that still have pledges out there, whether it be cash or donations of material or labor, that are still willing to make this a Gadoogie project. That was its initial plan for the project. So things are moving forward.
Lady Coates.
Well, thank you for mentioning the involvement of the at-large communities, because that's just exactly what I was going to bring forth. That I know that they've been inquiring about this particular project, that they've made donations of money already, I think, for coffee for the workers, I understand, and that this is one of the things that came out of the CATA conference this summer, the involvement of at-large organizations in conjunction with local community organizations trying to build those bridges between the citizens at large and the citizens at home, and just that the at-large citizens are very, very interested in the kinds of projects that they can become involved in to help support the local communities and the local efforts. So thank you for mentioning that.
Sure. We're excited about it.
Any more questions for Angela? Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We're on down to Real Estate Services, Lynn McDonald.
Okay, I believe you have my report in your package. It is coming up, and we'll be discussing that in a few minutes about our what they call our TAMS project, is to be able to get all of our information that are out in the county and to incorporate it all into one database so that we would know where all of our restricted lands are. So that's the purpose of the upcoming legislative act amendment. And we have several of my staff here today, just so that you know. Most of them are back this way. We got Stacy Woolard, Linda Taylor, who does our probate, Marsha Halterman, who works with our trust properties, feed the trust, and Amanda, who's our administrative secretary, Norma Eli, who does a lot of our wills and home leases. And she does a lot of home visits with people when they need somebody to come out. She's the one who goes out this time. Stacy Dunn, who is also assisting with some of our probate work. And I believe we have Jolene and Jamie Hothouse are out helping cook. So I just left the skeleton crew at the office. They're still kind of taking care of things. So if you have any questions.
Question, Karen?
We talked with CIA on last Monday. We had a meeting with them at their office on that. That was one of the subjects. And they said that Mr. Woodcock has put that at the top of his list and he's going to get it done. So they're on holiday today, so we'll check again tomorrow to see where they're at on that. But they did say that he's promising to get it worked over. Because not only that one, we also want the Sequoia properties turned over to us at the same time.
Thank you so much, Linda, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Any more questions for Linda? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Wait, we got a question.
Mr. Chairman, I was remiss, we have invited some guests here today, and we have Danny Duncan, who's our Delaware County Commissioner, and he brought with him his road foreman, Harvey McCoy. So welcome. Thank you. To make it today. And then we have Tony Masters, who is nephew to John Masters and taxi driver, and we wanted to welcome him here today. So just know that John's taxi driver's with him, and let's thank him for getting them here. And I don't think we've missed anyone else that's a guest. Thank you.
Any more questions for Linda? Okay, moving on down to environmental program, Tom Elkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe you have a copy of our report in your packet. This is our year-end numbers on things that we do. About the third, fourth line down, we have radon activities. We don't have a specific radon program anymore. The EPA has a match on that is 50%. So what we do is just buy radon test kits, and we announce ourselves that if any private citizens want those, in fact, we give them to just about anybody because they're so cheap, but that's why our numbers are low on there. Before that, we had to go out and beat the bushes, per se, to get those numbers up. And now, we do advertise it to an extent, but we don't have a program for that. You might notice that our energy audit, our goal requirement was 300, and we got 122%. So we're up on what we thought we might have done for that. That is one of the programs that's funded through the Department of Energy, and it will go away next fiscal year. So we have this next fiscal year to do that. I'm hoping that we not only could look at some funds to do home energy audits, but we have a lot of buildings that are not very efficient. And I would like to go through and look at the efficiencies on our buildings, on our commercial buildings, work with Angie's group and do that. And I really think we could save quite a bit of money. That's the first things you look at is the waste in energy like that, and then start looking at other ways. But I really think we can do that. Just a couple more things. Under highlights, B, I don't know if you all noticed it behind the council building. There's a windmill right there on that peninsula that side. That's not to create energy or anything. It's to, and it says there, it pumps air down into the water. The dissolved oxygen in that pond was getting very low. It's pretty hard on the fish that are in there. It was down about, I think, 2 milligrams per deciliter, or however they, milligrams per kilograms they do dissolved oxygen. But we wanted to get it up, and I think it's up to about 9. And that's really good for a pond like that. So that's working for that. And then the final thing, some of you all made it to that grand opening of the compressed natural gas facility. It's over there at Outpost 1. It's not operational yet, but it should be in just a few days to a couple weeks at the most, and it should be up and running. So we have one vehicle. I hope through attrition, as we gather new vehicles, at least new vehicles, I hope that we'll look towards either CNG vehicles or dual fuel vehicles, so that if we got out somewhere and we couldn't find any CNG, that we could still use gasoline. I hope we start looking at that, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any other questions, Tom? Yes.
Tom, would it be possible for your department, say over the next month, to notify or communicate with the other departments within Cherokee Nation and ask them what they estimate their new vehicle needs to be from each department and what year maybe they're anticipating buying their new vehicle in, and whether they would consider this type of vehicle at our next meeting.
Yes, ma'am, I'll put that together and bring it.
Thank you very much, I
Yes, ma'am.
appreciate that.
More questions, Tom? Thank you, Tom.
Yes, sir.
I'll ask our county commissioner, Daniel, would you like to address him?
First off, I want to say thank you, council, nation, for the roads, the bridges that you're fixing to work on, and what you've already done. It is a tremendous impact for this district, what you've accomplished so far. We just laid 2/10 of a mile at Colquitt High School, there by City Hall, that you donated $18,500 for. Thank you. We just recently asphalted around the elementary there at high school, at Colquitt. Of course, I'm going to ask you for one more thing. You know, they're putting a brand new gym there at Colquitt. Will be done in this next fiscal year. Just from there to the 116 highway is a short distance, less than a quarter of a mile, about 2/10 maybe. If we could cover that area, it would be a real big lift for that city and Colquitt High School. We have a road project that I would like for you to consider. I've looked at Curtis Snell's Road, 44 chicken houses on that road. Now, can we keep that road up in a good standard? No, Curtis will tell you I can't do it. But if we could take a look at hillside material, which I have donated, if I could get a little more material called Crusher Run, we could make a good road there. Asphalt, it would take so much asphalt there to build that up, couldn't, no way maintain it. We have a road from Colquitt that goes down to Tawny's that we call it the Indian Road because you donated the money for the chip and seal road. That road's beyond repair. So I've asked the council to look at that. I want your input before we put it back to dirt because it's beyond repair. I would like you to kind of consider helping us there. If you can't, I understand. But the county right now, we don't have enough money, to repair it. What we're going to try to do is at least 2 miles in every precinct this year on building road base up, putting good hillside material down, putting good drainage in, and using pressure run. But for 2 miles, you're looking at, give or take, $18,500 for that. So what you can help me with, I appreciate. Here again, I appreciate what the nation has done. You're doing 5 bridges this year. That's tremendous. 9.5 miles through Bull Hollow. That's going to help a lot of people. I just want you to understand, as a county commissioner, I am your county commissioner as well. I will do what I can to help you. With what equipment we have, we're going through a lot of training. My whole staff, we will be going through wildfire training at Kansas VOTEC this month. I have asked OSU, LTAP to come down and start training my peoples. But this is also welcome to your people as well. If you want those people to go through this wildfire training, I think it's an excellent opportunity because it don't cost you anything. It don't cost the county anything. LTAP is going to be very, very helpful for this county in District 3. And I've mentioned to other people about we need jobs in the worst ways in District 3. Our population has gone down 9% in District 3 in the last 10 years. Why? We're losing people to jobs. District 1 has went up 9%. So I'm picking up more road miles. I'm picking up more bridges. Right now, we have 112 bridges just in District 3, compared to Districts 1 and 2. If you combine them, 93. I've mentioned some of the council members. I think it's smart to start looking at what, if we could put a grader I will pay half the wages, you pay half the wages to cover your private land. If that's possible. If you can't, then I'll still do the best I can with what we've got to do with. I want to build roads. To build roads, I need your help. I went and looked at a grader, not a grader, but a bulldozer in Oklahoma City last week. 18.5 for those of you dozer, D7. But our roads have become narrow. The roads have become grown up. To make these roads back to a good working condition, not just for our people, as well as a nation, we need the equipment to do that with. Kenwood. We have a project there. I've asked at that time, Harley and Curtis was here, just south of Kenwood store. There's a road there that people can't get out if it comes big rain. We need horns put in there that will carry that water so they can come out through Mays County or Delaware. But I need help, because if you look at my budget, and I'm not afraid to show anybody my budget, you can see we have a lot of money going out, not a lot of money coming in. If you look at where does the county receive their money, gasoline, diesel, car tax. We have no sales tax set up for roads and bridges. None, zero. Not one penny comes from that. My PowerPoint presentation, I will do it anywhere, Curtis, that you want me to come do it. Telephone, wherever. I cover everything from personnel, equipment. Right now, our county barn, I kind of drool over this. Our barn is in bad condition. But here's what we are looking at. The VOTEC recently purchased the American Legion building. It's not going to work for a classroom environment. So they have offered it to the county to make a new building for our county barn. I have accepted that. They're doing the contract on that, and I'm going to run it through my DA. If it goes through, our district barn will be at Little Kansas. There's American Legion building. We'll still retain what we have. But that's huge for us because we didn't have a good working building. We have 0 sheds to store any kind of equipment in. But that's kind of my story to the council. If you need us, Harvey is my road foreman here, and we look at what we can do to help everyone. My goal, my mission, as a 30-year military retired soldier, I didn't take this job for glory. I took it to how can I help people? I want to help you. I want to help improve our roads, make it better for everyone. With your opportunity, your help as this council, I look forward to working with you for the next 4 years. Anytime, anywhere, I will come. We have an excellent PowerPoint presentation that lays out exactly what my mission is. I'll show you my county barn. I'll show you a picture of every piece of equipment I have. 70% of my people are Cherokee Nation people. Myself, I have Cherokee blood. I just don't have the card. So if you really get to looking at it, I have a very high percentage of my people that are Cherokee people. Is there any question from the council for me, as your commissioner, what you would like for me to do at this time?
Do I have a question today? Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Curtis.
Moving on down to old business, I see none. Moving down to new business. Resolution authorizing the donation of letter-sized metal shelving to NSU.
Move to approve.
Do a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff. Moving on down to item 2 is the
Budget modification.
budget modification for $1 million.
Second.
Move to second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Moving on down to, adjournment. The next scheduled meetings for Monday, November 14th at 4 o'clock. And does anybody have any announcements?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sure all of us, but thank you to the group that always makes this possible and is here today, because I know the cook said they were here very early, cooked some really good fish, so we appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, we thank everybody. They always get out here early, and they start drinking coffee and cooking bacon. So thank you very much, and I guess it is,
Second.
moved